The tech industry is currently sprinting to integrate artificial intelligence into every possible workflow. Yet, beneath the rush to ship, a quiet crisis is emerging. Most of these companies have no sustainable business model to support the products they're building. The adoption data is staggering. According to this research, 76% of software companies have launched new AI features in the last 2 years. That saturation will become nearly universal, with 96% planning additional launches very soon. But these massive launch statistics hide a dismal financial reality. Most of these companies are achieving negligible revenue gains from their AI initiatives, with outcomes often stuck in the 0 to 10% range. This revenue failure stems from a lack of economic modeling. When major AI tools first reached the market, pricing was often a guess. Sam Altman admitted he personally chose the early price for ChatGPT simply because he thought it would make some money. This reliance on instinct is a carryover from the traditional SaaS era. In that model, software is a tool that augments a human user's time. Because the marginal cost of software is close to zero, vendors can scale users without increasing their own expenses. Agentic AI changes that equation. These agents function as autonomous executors, taking over entire workflows. Every query they process requires a physical transaction of compute power on the back end. When you apply a flat-rate SaaS subscription to GenAI, you create a structural mismatch. You are charging a fixed fee for a service that incurs heavy, variable costs every time the customer uses it. Treating AI agents as standard software features does more than limit revenue. It breaks the unit economics of the business entirely. In the traditional SaaS model, value was tied to access. Because software was essentially infrastructure, scaling a user base cost the vendor almost nothing. That changes with AI. Every query physically burns compute cycles and GPU time. These inference costs mean that every time an agent generates an answer, the vendor pays a real-world price. We can see this economic clash play out through the launch of GitHub Copilot. Copilot was a massive success in terms of adoption, but its initial pricing was flawed. GitHub offered an advanced AI execution tool for a flat, unlimited $10 per month. The problem was the power user. These heavy adopters integrated Copilot so deeply into their coding that they consumed a disproportionate amount of back-end resources. Some of these users were burning through $80 worth of compute every month on a $10 plan. The result was immediate margin degradation. Unlike traditional SaaS, where growth improves margins, rapid adoption here actively worsened the economics. On average, GitHub was losing $20 for every user on the platform. To fix this, GitHub pivoted away from unlimited pricing toward fenced guardrails. In their 2025 model, we see the introduction of limitations on the standard plan and the creation of a $39 Pro Plus tier. Simple features remained affordable, but the most complex, compute-heavy queries were restricted to the highest-paying tiers. They also introduced clear usage-based penalties. Once a user exceeds their allotment, they are charged 4 cents for every additional premium request. Profitable scaling in the AI era requires this level of cost alignment. Pricing structures must physically constrain heavy users and charge specifically for usage intensity. Transitioning to a sustainable model requires a structured monetization architecture, not just the simple addition of usage limits. This framework maps out the pricing strategy based on 2 axes: customer adoption and business value. In the top left is the roll-in with no price change quadrant. It's viable only if AI is table stakes and marginal costs are strictly controlled, like Zapier. Then there is the high-risk move, rolling the AI in but raising the base price. This only works when the feature has universal appeal across your customer base. Many incumbents, like ServiceNow, choose the Create Premium tier strategy. This protects margins by targeting the AI only toward those users who require deep, high-value functionality. By fencing capabilities this way, incumbents can charge significant premiums. ServiceNow's AI-enabled packages carried a 30% markup over their base tiers. This markup is justified by the return on investment. Customers experienced productivity improvements of 40 to 50%, making the price increase easy to accept. The final quadrant is the add-on model. This is mandatory when your compute costs are high and usage varies wildly between customer segments. The data enrichment platform Clay illustrates how to adapt to this quadrant. Clay evolved rapidly. They started with a $79 per user seat model, transitioned through hybrid structures, and eventually landed on a pure usage-based system. That shift allowed them to monetize compute intensity directly, helping drive their revenue from $2 million to $37 million in just a few years. There is no universal playbook for AI monetization. Success depends on matching your billing unit directly to the product's underlying variable costs. In traditional SaaS, the primary metric for pricing was willingness to pay. Customers knew what a CRM should cost because they could compare it to familiar software categories. That metric is ineffective for agentic AI. Customers have no historical benchmark for what an autonomous workflow executor is worth. We have to move away from those software benchmarks and focus on a new set of inputs. The first critical input is economic value add. Pricing must be based on the exact hours saved, the headcount reduced, or the net new revenue the agent generates. The second input is the cost of alternative solutions. The alternative to an AI agent has moved beyond traditional software tools. The true competitive benchmark for an AI agent is the cost of a human analyst or a business process outsourcing firm. Historically, human compensation has been structured around commodified time and hourly wages. We pay for effort and scheduled blocks of labor. Because AI agents now emulate human execution, they must be evaluated using those exact same labor metrics. Buyers will judge an agent based on its reliability, its level of autonomy, and how much responsibility they can trust it with, not a list of software features. As these agents become more autonomous, they naturally require fewer human seats to operate. This means seat-based pricing will inevitably cannibalize itself. Success in the Gen AI era depends on moving beyond software licenses and treating AI products as scalable digital labor.